Coming up next on Rapid Reviews, Gerard YAWEH hands over fresh material to promote the second season of Umbrella Academy, Anne-Marie makes a surprise hit sucker punch to me as a previous hater, Billie Eilish pivots to happier moods, Movements finally reveal their second album, and DJ Khaled teams with Drake for not one, but two abhorrent nightmares. July 2020 was insanity for music, but just how crazy did things get? Stay tuned to find out. Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John, and it's time to cover that wild month that was July 2020. If you happen to be new here, Rapid Reviews is the show where I put 60 seconds on the clock and then tear through my thoughts on new singles in that amount of time or less. Stay tuned, please like this video because it helps support the series more than you know, and of course all of the timestamps are in the description, so pull up a bucket of popcorn and eat your heart out while I review 22 new songs, the good, the average, and the cringe, and it's the most I've ever covered in one single video. Also, don't forget that I might not say the rating out loud every time, but it's always gonna appear on screen at some point. I've been waiting patiently for more Tiger's Jaw, and they answered with a breezy thunderbolt that boasts brilliantly layered vocals, as you'd expect from them, domineering guitars that genuinely don't leave my head, they sound so good, and a surprisingly highlight-worthy drum performance that's leaving me foaming at the mouth for more. Please come through with that album sooner rather than later, but for now, 5 out of 5 for the comeback single. That's not even really a comeback, I just couldn't think of what else to call it. Anne-Marie, the girl that gave me nightmares with 2002 and her Friend Zone anthem collab with Marshmello made a solid-ass pop song? What even is 2020? I don't know, that's for sure, but To Be Young is not at all what I expected when I got an ad for it on Instagram. I mean, it's Anne-Marie, one of the most safe white wall artists I've come across in recent years, meaning I was so tempted to just ignore it and move on with my life. Curiosity killed the cat and I hit play, only to be taken back immediately by the noticeable 2000s sounding pop melody that I have missed so dearly. This is a really nice song, and that's what we call character development. Appreciate it, take it in. Anne's vocals sound really great here. There's an interesting message about modern youth. Doja Cat sings for an extended amount of time and does a damn good job at evoking nostalgic bliss. Wow, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. This Stand Atlantic album is shaping up to be one of the most buzzing pop-punk drops of the year, and I am all for it. Bonnie's showing vocal growth on this track, Jurassic Park. Side note, amazing name for a song, and I am trash for dinosaurs, call me Ross Geller, and the rest of the band smash it open with a bouncy ass hook. It's a live wire of a tune, can't wait for the album Pink Elephant, let's give it a 4.5 and call it a day. There's the original version of Tommy Lee that's a hip-hop trap song without Motley Crue's Tommy Lee, and then there's Tommy Lee, the rock version remix that's far superior for obvious reasons, one of them being Tommy Lee himself playing drums on the track. Tommy's a complicated, insane-ass dude, and I can't say I'm a huge fan of the way he's handled his fame, but he's a legend in the rock world, and this is a pretty good team-up that has me wondering why we can't get crossovers like this on the charts more often. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but it just seems like rock's being seen in a more favorable light again, and instruments in general instead of just trap beats, which is ironic considering I know the original mix of the song is exactly that. But I do like this remix enough, I'll give it a strong 3, and I see more potential in this mashing of genres. Big Linkin Park vibes on the new Movements single, and I'm here for it. Don't Give Up Your Ghost is the first single from their second album, which I've been dying to get my hands on. Waiting patiently for it, of course. Let's start with the bad. The chorus is underwhelming and repetitive, and while it's built around an interesting concept, that being the title of the song, it's sung shouted too often to the point where it loses impact. That's really my only issue with this song. It could have hit a bit harder, and I do like the instruments that swell up alongside the vocals as the hook rolls on, but even still, the verses are just way more powerful. Movements added some pianos in there, which really hit the feels as they backed the spine-tingling bass work, and of course the drumming that I consider to be the star of the show here. Spencer did some killer work. His beats are so unique compared to a lot of bands in the scene, and the fact that they do outshine Pat's vocals is maybe a little bit concerning. Probably not in the long run though. I have faith in them and producer Will. Yep, I love the message of hope that this song calls for someone to hold on, and September 18th can't come soon enough. After letting the dust settle and letting my initial excitement calm down, this new Kid Cudi Eminem joint, it's solid. Great would definitely be a stretch. I'll admit that I do have a soft spot for M because I really do, but he's so hit or miss in these later years, especially with features. But The Adventures of Moon Man and Slim Shady is landing much more on the hit side of the fence for sure. Cudi opens the track and it's about as vibey as anything he conjured up back in the Man on the Moon days, so it's a major step back to the right direction that started with Kids See Ghosts. The main thing here is that they just don't seem to have much chemistry. It just feels like two different songs they were working on, and they decided to make it a duo thing because Cudi's been doing well in pairs. M's verse has a lot of insight and the clever political wordplay he's been exercising more in recent years, but he doesn't entirely fit the mellow fire soundscape the producer's laying down. Cudi's opening verse is pretty much all I'm in the mood to hear sometimes. I'm not afraid to reach out and hit that skip button if I'm not feeling it. God, the front bottoms have just been on fire with the tracks I'm hearing from this upcoming album. Everyone Blooms was wholesome as fuck and really brightened the mood, but this jam Montgomery Forever clicks on a whole new level. Let's start by praising those glorious guitars. The lead riff is instantly warm and fuzzy, consistently finding its way into the best parts of the track, including a starring role throughout the chorus and after. Some fans have noticed they're straying away of their folky punk roots, but songs like this quickly make you realize that they still have stories left to tell, yes with a different atmosphere, but not entirely if you think about it. Brian Sella's voice is spirited and engaging, the drums have a firm energy that helps aid the fluidity of the overall composition, and I'm really just loving the ever-living hell out of this track. I guess that's what I'm beating around the bush to get to. Sing it loud, Montgomery Forever gets a perfect score. Josh Katz, the frontman of the major label-backed BADFLOWER, seems to be having a hard time with getting old. 30 celebrates and borderline parodies that internal anxiety on the new single that dropped right as several members of the band were leveling up another year, so yay, how appropriate that we get a new single to commemorate that. 30 has a few cringe moments lyrically considering Katz shoots straight from the hip with a freight train of thoughts, and that can come off refreshing, but also exhausting to the point where it feels rambly. It's fine if you're into that or don't care considering I'm mainly here for the sound, and from a musical POV, they brought the heat with loud guitars and a vocal showdown that eventually puts it all in this beautiful spiral of fear, a spiral deserving of a 3.5 in my book. Not everything needs a dedicated track review, even if it is a major artist, with Billie Eilish possibly being the biggest out there globally, but this more up-tempo sound that took a while to get going on her new single My Future is a bumpy, average road I don't think I'd see myself driving down very often. I applaud the optimistic outlook in the midst of this shitstorm. Oh, to be young and hopeful again. I miss it, and I'd love for humanity to join forces like some sort of movie ending, but apart from the slightly less melancholic music in the second half with those peppered drums and loungy keys, I just found Billie to be dull and replaceable. Was it a necessary change in direction? Sure, it suits her fine, I guess. I'm just not sure how this track differentiates itself from the bedroom pop tag that's become overgrown like a community garden. When everything I wanted landed, it felt like a missile strike to the feels, but My Future just sort of exists. My future just sort of exists. Ironic, that's 2020 for you, neighbor. Vlog Squad member SCOTTY SIRE has always been one of my favorites in the David Dobrik crew, but beyond his associations there, I'm impressed at how much he's improved as a musician. Some of his past songs have been cute enough with depressing lyrics, but it really didn't find a way into my heart. But Don't Be Sad is like the first time where I've sat back and been like, holy shit, he might be onto something here. SCOTTY talks about his breakup and the stigma surrounding parents who don't understand depression, or how a fucked up mind can really work against you in a very organic, relatable way that actually feels not cringe. Who knew that was a thing? And his voice rings out with this alarming clarity that's both catchy and full of sarcastic life, so I'm sold. It might sound cheesy on paper, but it works. Don't Be Sad is a 4. YUNGBLUD, the man who gives me very conflicting feelings depending on the song, has dropped another track from his upcoming album. It's called Strawberry Lipstick, and it's one of his more rock-oriented tracks, and if you've been keeping up with my thoughts on the young English star's musical career, you'll recall that I love it when he hops on that wave. Just look at how killer Loner turned out. Following suit, this is another one of his best songs to date, and it really caught me off guard. I don't know why, but I'm always expecting nothing, and the times when he's not trying way too hard to be woke or whatever the fuck else, it really seems to work for Dom. It's unapologetically British and sound, taking aim at a lover that's really taken a hold on him, leading up to a very 90s or else early 2000s sounding chorus that just really hits that sweet spot between catchiness and also staying power for future listens. Very strong forward to Strawberry Lipstick.
Are you fucking kidding me? Just
kick us while we're down. Kick us while we're down. Thanks so much, Drake and DJ Khaled. Exactly what we were all begging for. Death at a 1-2 combo, and here it is, Popstar and Grease. Two shit stains from two of the laziest hitmakers in the game. Remind me again, what is DJ Khaled good for outside of his absolutely delicious fan cams? Nothing. The man won't even go down on his girl, and Drake matches that lifestyle by sounding like he wrote these in the Notes app in bed 10 minutes before their studio time was booked. The overweight meme god screams his name at the beginning of both tracks, and while Popstar is insufferable because it's Drake at his lamest, boasting of things he's flexed about a million times over, Grease is legitimately one of the most offensive fall-offs from an already overrated rapper I've ever heard. The trap beat sounds like a baseball card in a bike tire, Drake sounds like he's faded off an entire bottle of Xanax, and the vocal filtering and auto-tune, whatever the hell it is, it's the opposite of flattering. Drake's been needing a few years away for a few years now, and he still hasn't done it. So at this point, I'm really just hoping that some sort of retirement announcement comes sooner rather than later. Go home and be a dad to Adidas, or settle down in the six with one of your baby mamas you're always rapping about. And please, for the love of God, let the general public rest. Please! As much as I hate the gimmick of releasing deluxe editions of albums a few weeks or even months after an album rolls out, I can't for the life of me find any other reason to complain about Poppy's promo single for that add-on to I Disagree called KHAOS x4. This fucking rules. It does on every single level, and I'm blown away at how she just keeps one-upping the octane to punch us all directly in the jaw for a quick KO. There's definitely a bit of that slow, heavy tightrope at play that she's used a lot in the past, but it no longer feels like a cheap tactic to usher in a new, heavier part of the song. Whoever drummed on this smashed it wide open, and the guitar work is phenomenal. I seriously just keep coming back to headbang, and also to appreciate the sinister darkness it gives the first verse, too. Pump this into a video game soundtrack and take on the world. That's the feeling I'm getting from KHAOS, and I couldn't be more happy about that. Keep doing your thing, Poppy. It's a blast and a half to listen to. Perfect score. Sue me. Quick shout out to the Australian pop punkers Yours Truly. They've got an album dropping in September, and I've really started to get hooked on some of their tracks, with Together being the name of the song that caught my ear to an even bigger degree, featuring some real guitar gusto and a great vocal energy from their frontwoman Michaela Delgado. Give it a spin. Get back to me. You might dig it, and I know I did, so I'm giving this a strong 3.5. Fire's coming out of the GORILLAZ head again! This Song Machine project is starting to get insane with how great some of these one-offs are. PACMAN with rapper Schoolboy Q has to be one of my favorites they've done so far, and I know that I keep saying that, but the smooth as fuck production with intrusive little keyboard parts, it reminds me so much of Plastic Beach, and Schoolboy's verse was easy to vibe with after what Damon laid down. It doesn't get much better than this. The chef's kiss, mwah, it came right at the end when we got a quick PACMAN sound effect, but even better than that, it was the entire song itself. Absorb that mood for me and report back 4.5 stars. Fuck yes, dude. Exactly what I've been dying to hear during quarantine. New Maroon 5. Can't you see that I'm over the moon for Nobody's Love? Their 12,000th song about love that we all so desperately needed to get us through these dark times? Snap out of it. Come on, you played yourself worse than Drake when he paired up with that We the Best moron. The song sucks unless you're a total Karen forever. It's not their worst song, not by a long shot, so I guess I have to give them that. It's more so just a yawn and a light eye roll rather than a, let me just jump in this pool and hold my breath for 3.5 minutes. But I do have to admit, it hits different hearing Adam Levine sing You Can Make a Grown Man Cry again and again and again. My man sounds super needy, and I'm not going to be the one to tend to those needs. Light 1.5. Next! Guns N' Roses were the original hitmakers behind this slow-burning ballad, and while I dug the original, Chris breathed new life into the track that I hadn't heard before. There's a sultry comfort in his voice that feels like home in the midst of this rapidly changing world. He's just such an iconic vocalist, and that tenderness does steal the show in the long run, even if the guitars deserve their share of the praise too. It's a great cover that I'm glad that we got to hear. Not the best ever, not necessarily game-changing, but really good and worthy of a save if for nothing else but for serenity to soothe your mind. Umbrella Academy Season 2 is here, and I still haven't even watched Season 1 yet. Maybe I'll change that in the coming weeks, but hey, new music from Gerard, YAWEH, baby! Can't let that solo single slip through the cracks. It's called Here Comes the End, featuring the neo-soul artist Judith Hill. Gerard's had some absolute bangers in the post-hesitant alien Now We Only Get Singles days, from the still in rotation Getting Down the Germs to the hazy shade of winter cover for the first season of the show with Ray Toro. He's just been killing it, and even if I don't care for this one quite as much, there's still a lot to like packed in tight. First of all, loving the 70s retro rock mood being cast over the track like a shadow. Second, Gerard and Judith have a lot of vocal chemistry, and I do like her soaring additions. And overall, it's just kind of a simple little tune, capped off with a great guitar solo that keeps the momentum driving. Again, not the best single he's put out, and I wish there was a slightly fresher sound that evolved more as the track went on, but it's hard to deny pretty much everything else should satisfy that craving for more Gerard. The Man, the Myth, the Meme, the Remix? Oliver Tree may have just dropped his debut album Ugly is Beautiful, but that doesn't mean that he can't announce his retirement and drop a remix with Blink-182. Let Me Down was one of the singles he dropped a while back, and it's had some crossover success on the charts, so his record label Atlantic, they probably saw the potential in having the pop-punk icons on this cut to give it a rockier feel with some spicier drum work and bigger guitars. If you caught my review of the album, you'll remember that I said this was one of the more aggravating tracks with the vocals in the background, and with Blink being the king of na-na-nas, was this about to be a match made in sing-songy heaven? Nah, this is actually a pretty good remix. I went in expecting to be put off by it, but it's actually one of the better Blink features in recent memory, and there's been a lot of those. The production is better, the track doesn't feel as empty, Mark Hoppus actually feels invested despite the fact that you can tell they just laid down the same blueprint that makes up 90% of their discography. They had fun with it, and if these are the types of notes that Oliver goes out on, count me in as a fan. Rip-roaring good times with loudmouth drums and howling guitars are not at all what I'd typically associate with Bastille, a band that I've always said felt destined to make me fall asleep at the wheel, but they have their standout moments, and this is possibly the most energized they've ever been. Commenting on life behind a screen is getting a bit overdone at this point lyrically, and the song is way too short, barely passing the 2-minute mark and just sort of cutting off at the end. If I was the doctor writing the prescription, I'd say go home, lay down one more extended instrumental break with a guitar solo and or drum solo, flesh out the message a bit more and sit on it a few days before dropping the final product. I'll give it to the English boys. It does sound urgent, but as we all know, it's all about that stamina, baby. No need to blow your load in 2 if you can make it last for 4 with a little bit of persistence. And with that analogy over with, here's a 3.5. Way better than the first single, Evanescence. Can we just take a moment to appreciate that? I know they're going in like 80 directions intentionally with this new album, but I was not at all subscribing to the sound of Wasted on You, which was so painfully generic. The Game Is Over is the second taste of the bitter truth, and it's pretty much filled to the brim with that classic sound most of their fans would bust a nut for any day of the week. Amy Lee sounds stellar, lifted higher with towering guitar strokes that make it feel like 2006 all over again. I'm talking major open door vibes from the band and me likey. To oversimplify the shit out of that for you, they snap back into what they do best without even trying too hard, so kudos where they're due, so I'll be damned if I'm not a bit more excited for the album now. I still can't groove with the first single, but The Game Is Over levels up to a strong 4. Okay, so that was the longest episode we've ever done of Rapid Reviews, so if you enjoyed what you saw, all of the coverage, like 22 different songs, then please hit the like button on this review, subscribe for the love of music. There's a Spotify playlist linked down below if you want to hear all of these songs for yourself. A couple of recent videos floating on screen now, including last month's Rapid Reviews, and I will see you soon for more right here on Beyond ARTV.